The goal in football is always to outscore your opponents within a 60-minute game. This can be done by scoring a lot or being good at preventing scoring. Ideally, a team will be good at both, but sometimes one side of the ball is better than the other. In extreme cases, one side of the ball is way better than the other. Today, we're going to be looking at the 10 most imbalanced NFL teams during the Super Bowl era on defense. And we will be doing that the same way we always do, by using C-Score, this channel's metric for determining the overall quality of every single NFL team during the Super Bowl era. We have further broken C-Score down to its offensive and defensive components. For a deeper explanation of C-Score, be sure to check out the description of this video. It's pretty simple. We took every team's offensive C-Score and subtracted it from its defensive counterpart. The higher that number, the more imbalanced that team is on the defensive side. Thank you for joining us today. We are ready to start. Coming in at number 10 are the 1999 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went 11-5 this season, setting a franchise record for regular season wins, but didn't exactly overwhelm their opponents with a plus 35 point differential. They were the 5th worst scoring team in the league, but they were also 3rd best in points allowed. Their overall C-score of 7.431 gets split into near negative double digits on offense and a near 17 on defense, for a difference of 26.297. That defensive performance worked for the Bucs this season. On top of their franchise record for wins, they won their first division title in 18 years and advanced to the NFC Championship game for only the 2nd time in franchise history. And in that title game, they held the St. Louis Rams, one of the most powerful offenses in NFL history, to a single field goal for the first 55 minutes of the game. They did lose 11-6 in the end, with the Rams' late touchdown the only one allowed by the defense in their 2 playoff games. One of the true defensive powerhouses of its era, the Minnesota Vikings provide us our number 9 entry with its 1971 team. They went 11-3 and outscored their opponents by 106 points, mostly on account of allowing fewer than 10 points a game, which was the NFL's best that season. Their C-score of 18.648 was all defense and then some. The offense dipped below -4, while the defense climbed up near 23, giving us a difference of 26.946. The Purple People Eaters was an appropriate nickname for this defense, as they consistently gobbled up opposing offenses. They pitched 3 shutouts during the season, including one game against the Green Bay Packers where they won 3-0. They only allowed 13 points or more 5 times, but they went 2-3 in those games, accounting for all their losses. Then, in the playoffs, they allowed 20 points to the Dallas Cowboys, and without enough offense, they were one and done for yet another disappointing end to a Minnesota Vikings season. Maybe not a team that comes to mind when thinking about great or even good defenses, we have the 2004 Washington Redskins in 8th place. They kept a reasonably good point differential of -25, considering their 6-10 record, on the strength of their 5th place ranking in points allowed. Their -8.968 C-score is more a product of a terrible offense, with that C-score coming in at right around -18.5, while the defense was just over 9.5, providing us a difference of 27.988. Again, this wasn't exactly a tremendous defense that'll go down in the NFL annals, but it was certainly a playoff-worthy defense. Their opponents cleared 20 points only 3 times all season, naturally all resulting in Washington losses. In fact, they were pretty balanced across the season, allowing between 10 and 20 points 12 different times. The offense cleared 20 points only 3 times, but all those were Washington victories. With the NFC as weak as it was in 2004, the Redskins had a clear path to the playoffs if they could only figure out how to move the ball. Here's a team we should all be familiar with. At number 7 are the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, they went 12-4. Sure, they outscored their opponents by 150 points, and of course they led the league in fewest points allowed. But this team has the one accomplishment that everyone wants. They were Super Bowl champions. One of the greatest defenses of all time, their 33.575 C-score is almost exclusively a product of that defense. A near 31 sits beside less than 3 for a difference of 28.063. We've run the numbers on this Bucs defense before, that's all well and good, but here's a fun note that not many people may know. Before the season, 2 men with championship pedigrees turned down the opportunity to be this team's head coach. Former Buccaneers player Steve Spurrier and Bill Parcells. This would be 10 years after Parcells had agreed to take the job in Tampa before then deciding against it. The Bucs paid a considerable ransom to pry John Gruden away from the Raiders, and the rest is history, with the Bucs then defeating those Raiders in Super Bowl 37. The 1967 Houston Oilers didn't have the defense that Tampa Bay had, but the disparity between its offense was enough to rank ahead of them at number 6. Still members of the AFL, Houston went 9-4-1 with a plus 59 point differential, led by the league's stingiest scoring defense. Their C-score is a clean 7.6, but they reached double digits on both sides of the ball. It went the wrong way for the offense at nearly negative 10.5, while the defense cleared 18, for a difference of 28.524. Giving up 199 points in 14 AFL games was actually quite the accomplishment. That was more than 37% better than league average and more than 2 points per game better than the second place Oakland Raiders. Despite a fairly anemic offense, Houston won the AFL Eastern Division and went on to the AFL title game where they met that same Raider team. After allowing 20 points or more only twice all season, they technically allowed 20 points in this game twice, getting hammered on New Year's Eve by a score of 40-7. Speaking of the Raiders, they will take the number 5 spot with their team from 2006. These Raiders not only have the worst record on this list at 2-14, they also have the worst point differential at negative 164, and they have by far the worst ranking in points allowed at 18th. With a total C-score of negative 26.718, they are here because of their dreadful offense, one of the worst in NFL history. That C-score crashes to nearly negative 28, while the defense heroically kept itself above water, driving home a difference of 28.7. This team won 2 games? Why, yes, they did. Back-to-back, in fact, at home against the Arizona Cardinals and Pittsburgh Steelers, with an absolute explosion on offense by scoring a combined 42 points. There were 11 instances that season of a team scoring 42 points or more in a single game. Again, this defense was heroic. 6 different times they allowed 20 points or fewer, only to lose all 6 of those games. You wouldn't expect 6-0 right there, but 0-6 has got to be deflating. Then they thought Jamarcus Russell would fix everything. Hilarious. At number 5, we have the Chicago Bears, but maybe not quite the year you expected. This is the season before their Super Bowl appearance from 2005. These guys went 11-5 and allowed the fewest points in the league, but a meager offensive output only provided for a point differential of plus 58. Their strength of schedule didn't shine either, leaving them an okay C-score of 5.669. The offense lingered at around negative 11.6, while the defense powered past the 17, leaving a difference of 28.897. That 2006 Super Bowl team didn't have the feel of a good offense, but they were a lot better than this one. Historically speaking, the calling card of the Chicago Bears is defense. Over the first 15 games of the season, they allowed more than 20 points just one time, and as the NFC's number 2 seed, they got a bye into the divisional round. About that 16th game though, yeah, they give up 34 points in a loss. And their playoff game, 29 points in a loss. Bad timing for sure, and with their 2 best offensive performances coming before Halloween, this team certainly hit a ceiling. Just like the Bears in our previous entry, we have a Jacksonville Jaguars team you might not have expected to see here at number 3. This is the 2018 Jags, the season after the famed Saxonville unit that went to the AFC title game and blew their opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. That team had some offense, this team did not, and they slumped to a 5-11 record with a negative 71 point differential. Their C-score of negative 11.262 split into worse than a negative 20 on offense, while the defense remained respectable at just under 9. That makes for a difference of 29.222. Indeed, it was the offense that did this team in. During their 3-1 start to the season, they scored at least 20 points in their 3 wins and lost their 1 game by a 9-6 score. They cleared the 20-point mark just 2 more times over their final 12 games. They only won 2 of those 12 games, wherein the defense pitched a shutout in 1 and allowed 7 points in the other. They weren't total stalwarts defensively, but they did hold the explosive Chiefs under their season average and did have to play the season with the burden of a terrible offense, offering them little to no quarter. The 1977 Tampa Bay Buccaneers slide into the number 2 spot. In just their second year of existence, this team improved by going 2-12 instead of 0-14 as they did the year before. They were still outscored by 120 points, but they were 12th in points allowed, a top half of the league number. The offense somehow went backwards from their expansion season. Their total C-score of negative 30.716 is not on the defense, which barely creeps into positive territory, giving us a difference of 30.788. Collectively, the 1977 Buccaneers threw 3 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions. Let those numbers sink in. 3 touchdown passes, 30 interceptions. If they threw 1 INT in each half of every game, they would have thrown fewer than 30 interceptions. We called the 2006 Raiders defense heroic. These 1977 Bucs might be the most heroic defense the NFL has ever seen. The offense scored 7 touchdowns the whole season. I had to dig for this next stat. The NFL's current 32 teams, over the course of history, have combined to score 7 or more touchdowns in a single game 287 times. All you can do is shake your head at that one. 1977 provided our number 2 entry, and now it provides our number 1 entry in the Grits Blitz Atlanta Falcons. Even with a plus 50 point differential, this team just went 7-7. They did more than just lead the league in fewest points allowed. They set a record for a 14-game schedule at just 129 points, 9.2 points per game, accounting for their 2.988 C-score. The offense wasn't as horrific as some others we've seen here at almost negative 16, but with their defense nearing a 19, this gap is the largest of the Super Bowl era at 34.686. The Falcons certainly benefited by having the second easiest schedule in the league, but dominance is still dominance. They allowed the fewest rushing touchdowns in the league, the fewest passing yards, the second fewest passing touchdowns, and they forced the second most turnovers. They also lost games by scores of 14-7, 10-6, 10-3, and the dreaded 3-0. In their 7 victories, they allowed 7 points or fewer 6 times. In their one outlier, they allowed just 10. But successful football teams have quality on both sides of the ball. Atlanta only nailed half of that equation, missing out on the playoffs in the process. Looking at the top 10 as a whole, we can see that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are perhaps the most defensively oriented franchise of the Super Bowl era, making an astounding 3 separate appearances. No other franchise makes more than 1. The Bucs are also involved with the only season, 1977, that makes 2 appearances, which just so happen to be in the top 2 spots. The gap between numbers 2 and 1 is nearly 4 points, not that much fewer than the gap between numbers 2 and 10, which is nearly 4.5 points, solidifying the Falcons in that top spot. Every single completed decade of the Super Bowl era is represented here, except for the 1980s. But if we made this a top 11, then the 1983 Philadelphia Eagles would have gotten the call. Thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If we did this imbalance for the defense, you know that very soon we will be doing the same for the offense. Please do the whole YouTube thing if you don't mind. Like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and ding the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future releases. Let me know what you think about all of this. Was there a team in this top 10 that you weren't expecting to see? Was there a team that didn't make the top 10 that you were expecting to see? Do you think that any team from the upcoming 2025 season has a chance to break into this list? After all, 2024's closest team were the Chicago Bears, and they didn't even make the top 80. Sound off on these topics or anything else you may have on your mind right down there in the comments section. Thank you once again for joining us today, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.